Welcome to Designer Digital's bi-weekly tip, July 1st, 2016. This week, filling shapes with text in Photoshop, tracing shapes with curvy lines. This week, we're continuing our series on creating and filling text boxes. Last week, we introduced Photoshop's pen tool with straight lines. This week, we'll explore the flexibility of the pen tool with curved shapes and freeform drawing. If the shape you're filling has curves like bracket frames or fancy frames, wheels or quatrefoil shapes, or some journalers, you have several options. Here's how to get started. Begin by opening a document and getting the pen tool. Make the following choices in the options bar at the top of the editing window. For tool mode, choose Path. For path operations, choose Combine Shapes. For path alignment, choose Align to Canvas. And tick the box by Auto Add and Delete. Method 1. Multiple anchors. This is the easiest way to address curved sections. And since type doesn't have smooth edges anyway, this is a perfectly acceptable way of creating a text box around curved shapes. Bring your cursor over to the document. I'm using Wood Veneer Wheels number 1 for the sample. Click to add an anchor point in the place where you want to start outlining the text box, and then move the cursor over and click again to add another anchor point. Keep moving and clicking. Don't click and drag, just move and click to add anchor points to the curved section of your text box. As you click, you'll see the path form between the anchor points. It will look like a line. Keep clicking to add more anchors until you reach the original anchor point again. When you hover over the initial anchor, the pen tool cursor changes to include a small circle at the bottom right corner. That's a visual clue that tells you you're about to close the path. Click the initial anchor point to complete the shape. This makes it ready to fill with text. Get the Type tool and select a font size, and a font color in the options bar across the top of the screen. Toggle the character and paragraph panels icon on the right side of the box if you can't already see character and paragraph panel over to the right. Click on the paragraph tab and choose Justify All, which is a little icon on the right side of the box. Move the cursor over to your document and position it in the shape that you just drew. The cursor will change to an eye surrounded by a circle when you're inside your shape. Click anywhere and begin typing. Your text will be constrained to the shape. Tick the check mark in the options bar to confirm the text. Method 2. Bezier Curves. The second method is to cause Photoshop to curve the line between two anchor points. To do this, create the first anchor point using the same settings listed at the beginning of the tutorial. I'm using Ready-Made Extended Journalers number 2 for the sample. After making the initial anchor point, move your cursor and click again to add another anchor point about halfway around the curve. Don't let go of the clicker, but drag your mouse a little away from the anchor point to drag out the direction handles. As you drag out the handles, the path curves between the two anchor points. To create a deeper curve, drag out a longer handle. I think this looks about right. Now move your cursor to the next spot that you want to anchor and click. You won't need to drag, just click, because the second anchor already had a handle extending from it, so the new path segment arcs already. Continue adding more anchor points. Curve where necessary or make straight lines by clicking without dragging. Be sure to close the path by clicking the original anchor point at the end. I'm going to go ahead and drag out a handle and curve this section a little bit too. Fill the curved shape with text using the same method as you did for straight lines. Get the Type tool and move the cursor over to your document and position it inside the shape that you drew. Click and then begin typing. As you type, your text will fill the shape that you drew. Tick the check mark in the options bar to confirm the text. Click on another layer to hide the path. Method 3. Draw it by hand. If you have a talent for drawing, which unfortunately I do not, you can get the free-form pen tool under the pen tool in the Tools panel. I'm using Messy Doodled Frames number 2 for the sample. Click and drag the cursor on your document to draw out a shape. Use the same pen tool settings listed at the top of the tutorial. Using a graphics tablet as you draw really helps make this feel a little bit more natural. As you click and drag, you'll notice that the path is being drawn on your document. Be sure to close the shape by coming back up and clicking on your original anchor point. When you release the clicker, the software adds anchor points to your sketch. Fill the shape with text by getting the Type tool and positioning the cursor inside the shape that you drew. Click and begin typing. Tick the check mark in the options bar to confirm your text. This technique gives you the most control over the creation of a text box in the shape of your choice. Any shape that you can dream up can be created using the pen tool in Photoshop. In the next tip, we'll move on from text boxes and start looking at methods for creating text on paths around shapes. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check back in 2 weeks for the next DesignerDigitals tip.